Alex Hormozy wasn't legit. But as of 4 months ago, we'd gotten over 1 million leads with an average lead cost under $13. Media buyers, they were just an expensive piece of overhead and they never lasted very long. The whole idea of UpHex, it was just to get rid of the media buyer.
How much time is UpHex going to save?
How long would it take you? 3 to 4 hours. With UpHex, you'll be able to do it in 30 seconds. We perfect the creative and then we mess around with the algorithm. Guess how many new patients he got? 124.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm joined by Sam from UpHex today. So excited that you're here, Sam. UpHex, if you don't know, they have over 1,000 users on a software that allows you to launch Facebook and Google Ads campaigns directly inside of Highlevel and for your clients to launch them themselves, so you don't actually have to be involved in that process. So there's a lot of people creating very leveraged offers here, allowing themselves to step out of the agency and scale farther, faster, because they don't have to be involved in the weeds and worry about all these tech headaches and all these things breaking with 40, 50, 60 clients. So amazing stuff happening at UpHex, amazing product. Sam, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I'm excited to be here. Been following your channel. You guys are growing. You're growing like crazy. So congratulations to you, man.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Did I do UpHex justice in that intro?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we've got a really slick interface with Highlevel. They're definitely part of the UpHex origin story and definitely a part of our model. And especially as we go into 2024, we got some really cool stuff with that in mind. But yeah, you know, my background is in the agency space and I've been doing that for 9 years. And when Highlevel came around, we had one evolution of innovation, I guess we could say. And we saw it as a huge partner, a huge support to what we did in our lead gen agency. We just needed something else to help us scale faster, to help us get better profit margins. I mean, there's so many issues that people have when running ads, launching ads. UpHex had to eventually find its way to, to other agencies, and it just happened to be us that found it and made it happen.
Love it. I have to be honest. The first time I heard about it, I was like, dang, this is going to be so cool. I got a free trial. I downloaded it into the account. And then I was like, oh, I don't think this really fits with my model. We were already like, 60, 70, 80K a month at that point.
Yeah.
And since then, I've A, been proven wrong by other people. B, realized that a lot of people aren't using this just for their clients to launch the ads, but they're actually using it for their done for you side of things.
Oh yeah.
So they don't have to hop between Facebook and Highlevel, which I'm curious your thoughts on that. I want to ask you about it a little bit later.
Yeah.
But I just want to put this at the beginning of the podcast for those of you who may be a bit more advanced. Like, this is not going away. It's not something that you should ignore, in my opinion. And even if you don't want your clients to run their own ads, it's going to save you a load of time. And there's a lot of things they currently have and a lot of things that UpHex is coming out with in the future that's going to save you years of tech headaches, which kind of becomes the bane of an agency at a certain point. Like, you just have so much tech you have to take care of.
Yeah.
That eventually it's just not fun. Your margins are going down, your enjoyment's going down. So, but before we get to that part of things, I want to hear about your guys' pivot to this model. We talked a little bit at the Highlevel Summit about that being your insurmountable, moment of like, every time we get to 50 clients, the wheels are falling off my agency. Should we take this jump and switch to the hybrid SaaS model?
Yeah.
Or should we not? How did you come up with the idea? And just walk us through the emotions of kind of killing your agency and turning it into a hybrid SaaS.
I wish I could say I came up with the idea. I think all the best ideas just kind of happen to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, if I were to go back and the inception of what UpHex, like why we even did UpHex, was my agency was a traditional SMMA agency. We were running Facebook ads for local doctors, things like that. And anytime we would get to, and for it wasn't 50. I wish we could have gotten to 50 with the overhead we had at the time. Anytime we'd get to like 25 or 30 clients, the wheels would fall off because it was just me and my partner. And he was more on the back end, I was more on the front end. And so between him launching ads, optimizing them, fixing whatever issues, all that kind of stuff, we just couldn't do it. And so it was like, hey, at this point in time, when we get to 25, 30, we need to hire somebody. Okay. Enter a media buyer. Now, media buyers, because now these are our virtual employees, right? In many cases, they're not sitting in the office with us. So they come over from Upwork or maybe from some VA service. And my experience, this is in 2000 and maybe 17-ish, 16-ish, when these things are happening, was just that we couldn't keep them on. They were either too expensive. We would train them out of bad habits. Managing them was a hassle. They were just an expensive piece of overhead, and they never lasted very long. And so we would find ourselves in, I call it the gap of agency despair, where you get to 25 customers and you're trying to get to 50, and then you have to incur all of this overhead to get there. So you lose all your profit margins. So so that was kind of like the inception of the whole idea that became UpHex. So we worked on it from 2018 into about right into the pandemic, so 2020. And in 2020, we had basically the beta version of UpHex in our agency. Now, the whole idea of UpHex was not so our customers could run the ads. That was not the original idea. It was just to get rid of the media buyer. It was so I could hire my nephew to come in and launch ads, and just we wouldn't have to worry about that one fulfillment function.
Okay.
And so we're going through this, and I've got there's three of us in UpHex, and Jacob and Bradley, they're the smart guys. I'm the pretty face, I guess we would say. And so I'm listening to these guys talk about and show me and demonstrate what UpHex can do. And I'm like, dude, this is so easy. I wonder if our customers could do it. And we had like this moment where we all kind of like stopped, like maybe they could. And so we had a customer at my agency. My agency's name is Patient Stream, still have the agency. We had this customer, and her name is Michelle Sims. And she was a really great customer, sharp gal. She did something for her school system in her town. And so I went to her and I said, hey, Michelle, I would really love to see if you can do this. And so we sat down, I showed it to her, and she did it. And I was like, dude, our customers can do it. So I went back to Jacob and Bradley and said, our customers can do it. And so we came up with this harebrained idea to do a webinar and to pitch this offer of, and I'll tell you about, because you asked about pivoting from the clients that we had to this new model. That was scary. I'll tell you about that in a second. But we got all of these people onto this webinar. We were very careful to exclude our current customer base, and kind of went through and said, oh, I think this doctor knows this person, and did our best to not like pollute the well.
Yeah.
And we did this webinar, and we had a lot of people on there. I think we had like 150 some people on this webinar. And it came the moment to where Michelle was going to demonstrate how to do this. That was the punchline of the whole webinar. And she did it. And I remember being so nervous. I'm like, this is going to make us or break us. And she did it. And they're still recording to me of this day on my other YouTube channel, the Patient Stream YouTube channel, where I scream, you did it! Because it was more than just you did it and that was exciting. It was the culmination of, we're in the pandemic. We have this software we've been paying for. Our agency is on is on a tightrope of, do we make it, do we not? And in this one moment, she launched a campaign all by herself, and 53 customers signed up from that webinar that day.
Wow.
And it was crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh. I cried on the next webinar. I won't talk about that, but I mean, if you're in the agency game, there's so much riding on it. And, you know, during the pandemic, there was even more riding on it. So,
Yeah.
where we've come from and where we've gotten to today, we've been very lucky and very fortunate. So,
Yeah, I love it. I think every agency owner, it's rare that I do know people like this, but it's rare that they will pick a model and they're still doing that model 10 years later and they're
yeah,
insanely profitable with it.
yeah,
Mostly it's like salt of the earth type person running ads for local businesses, just trying to get by, really good at what they do,
yeah,
but can't retain, retention and scale is a challenge.
yeah,
And they are really good at marketing, but their model just hasn't quite clicked. And then the people that you see blow up is like it's like a Hormozy thing. Like he went from the gyms to the licensing, and that was when he blew up. If he had
yeah,
stayed at gyms, like he could have gone there, but it would have taken him a lot longer.
yeah.
And that was your moment. A lot of people have similar moments, but like if you're there right now, I just want to say like learning the skill of marketing, you're going to figure it out eventually if you know how to market. Um, the model will find you or you will find it
That's
eventually.
right.
Just
Yeah,
focus on getting your clients the best results possible, and someday it'll work out.
that's right.
Um, yeah, thanks for sharing that. So, did you end up cannibalizing a lot of your done for you revenue eventually?
Yeah, yeah. Eventually, we basically we got enough customers, so we went from 53 to 127
Wow.
in just a little over 2 months. And so then
What was the monthly fee?
we started at 297.
And that was just for running ads, or was the CRM included?
Uh, just ads. We had some small CRM stuff like opportunities with
Okay.
opportunities tab and some workflows, but we weren't at that time. We weren't pitching and promoting like booked appointments, none of that kind of stuff. So um,
Okay.
yeah, so we eventually did bring the customers who were paying us more in-house. Now, what was interesting about that, and you had said, the done for you model versus the DIY model. We
Hmm.
actually had about 10 people say, no, we still want to stay on the done for you model. Even though we know it's easy, we just want you guys to handle the calling, the pre-qualification stuff that you're already doing um, in that service. And so it's funny because when we went to the high level community, we did pitch, and you can't go in with all the different opportunities, right? So we went in with the DIY one. That was the one that
Hmm.
had created the best opportunity for us. But even to this day, we still offer done for you, right? And even though UpHex can deliver the same results, whether our customers are pushing the button to launch the campaign or a VA is pushing the button to launch a campaign, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But some people just don't even want it in their headspace.
Yeah.
They don't even want to do it. So we have a lot of people who they start with the done for you model, and then naturally as they're promoting, I'm not sorry, the DIY model, the do it yourself model, start there, and naturally as they're getting clients, they're like, well, would you just do this for me? And so they start adding the done for you model, and those are the people who really crush it with
Yeah.
UpHex, is when they combine both into a single model.
So you guys at Patient Stream you also do appointment setting and stuff for those DFY clients?
That's right. Yeah, and we have
Okay.
so Patient Stream has just over 240 clinics, and we sell a DIY model, and then we allow people to upsell. Now, the actual calling and the appointment setting, we outsource it.
Mhm.
I'm a big proponent of. There's a lot of like crowdsourcing services right now. So Extendly is an example of that. You know, there's different call center services that are an example of that. I don't have to manage a call center. They just provide it for a fee, and that's how we do it.
I see. Okay. Very cool. And of those 240 that you have now, how many are on SaaS or some sort of
Mm,
DIY?
I can't give you an exact number, but I would guess about 200.
Okay.
I
Very
guess
cool.
right around there.
And what are you selling? Well, actually, I want to go into offers in a minute because I want to see what you guys are selling and what the top UpHex users are selling. Because I think it's just so cool. And again, I love being proven wrong. When I heard about the DIY thing, I was like, no, there's no business owner that's going to want to go in and do that themselves. That's dumb. And then I went in the UpHex group and like I saw all these people being like, this thing sells itself. They're so excited. Like
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm wrong. Um, but before we go into offers, the other biggest skepticism point that I had as an experienced advertiser when I saw UpHex was, okay, you're telling me I'm gonna read this, I'm gonna go into this template library and I'm gonna launch a template for my med spa agency, and it's gonna be the same exact template that everybody else that's using UpHex is using, and I know it's just a matter of time before I'm gonna have to swap that ad out. So,
Yeah.
for as a beginner, you're like, oh, it's a template. Like beginners ask me for templates all the time, and they're like crazy for templates.
Yeah.
And a big part of me is just like, no, I'm not going to give you a template because you need to learn how to do marketing.
Yeah.
But obviously, once you learn the principles behind it, and okay, this template will run for a while, and then I'll have to swap it out. Anyway, how do you think about that? What do you have like average numbers on? Okay, this template works for this long, typically, or a general outline of what that might look like so that people have a realistic expectation going in, like, okay, this offer may sell itself because it's so good, but when
Yeah.
it comes to fulfillment, if I'm doing it or if the client's doing it, how do they tweak the campaign if it starts to underperform?
Yeah. So I think that is one of the things that might be misunderstood about about what UpHex is. Now, it's really interesting because we didn't originally think that we were going to have like a template library. The function that the tool performs is so desirable to an agency that it's like, well, I don't need that other stuff. And now I was thinking, as a person that had been doing it for a long time, I already had my own template library. You were in the orthodontic space. You already had your own template library, right? So it's just uploading it into your UpHex account and then going. And I don't remember what the inception of that template library was, but we just started doing it, and we started building it off of just the best practices that we knew from being in the business for, at the time, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we were building it off of our proven framework. We were finding proven offers. You can find proven offers on Ads Library, on TikTok Ads Library, on Google. Like, you can find them all over the place. And then you just have to know how to package them in a way that delivers results. And we know how to do that. And so it's funny because we have over 700 templates in the UpHex template library. And I don't know the exact number, but I would imagine that about 80% of the people come into UpHex, take the templates as is, and just launch them. Now, we don't tell people to do that. In fact, if you have come to any of my trainings, if you've gone through my free course is like 8 hours, right? And probably an hour of is ad writing. I tell you to modify and adapt, because while people do use them and they do get results, to your point, if I am an agency and I'm competing in the med spa space, that was your example, and I'm using these ads from UpHex, and then the client sees the exact same ad, like, oh, wait a minute, you're using the same as XYZ agency? What's up with this? That's not going to be good, right? It doesn't take very long to take our ads and adapt them, and especially now, like, there's a button in UpHex that you can push it and it will rewrite it with AI. So at least you take that step and make it your own. All that
It's
being
getting
said,
stupid easy, guys.
yeah. All that being said, even though that's not what we tell people to do, even though we
Mhm.
give them a course, even though we have daily classes, we do all this stuff to get you guys what you need, we probably have about 8% of people that go and use the templates as is. And UpHex over the last 12 months I haven't gotten a report in the last like 4 months, but as of 4 months ago, we gotten over 1 million leads with an average lead cost under $13.
Wow.
So, we're doing something right.
Mic drop.
There you go.
Hey guys, just jumping in here to give you a quick word on our sponsor Highlevel before we get back to the interview. If you don't know already, Highlevel is the top sales and marketing solution for any business, but particularly agency owners or anybody that needs a software product to resell to their existing customer base. It has everything you need to capture, nurture, and close leads for marketing clients. And the best part is Highlevel believes in not taxing the agencies on its platform, so you can get unlimited clients for one low flat monthly fee. The best features include a CRM, funnel, website and email builders, course hosting platform, robust marketing automation builder, a consolidated chat stream with WhatsApp, email, SMS, Instagram DMs, and Facebook DMs, reputation management, social media posting, tracking and analytics, and so much more. And as if that wasn't enough, Highlevel is fully white labeled, meaning that you can take the platform and put your own brand on the desktop and mobile app and resell it to your industry for whatever price you want. Essentially, what Highlevel has done is brought the bar for starting a software company way lower, so normal people like you and I can help our clients with an amazingly robust software without paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in development costs. I am not kidding when I say hands down, Highlevel is my favorite software of all time. It has been integral to my success with my agency. It helped me increase my clients' results and retention, and I use it every single day for my own business. And if you sign up for Highlevel today, not only will you get a 30-day free trial, which is not available on their website, but you'll get all of the bonuses listed at itskeaton.com/mastermind, which gets you support, templates, and courses to kickstart your high-level journey and get those first few clients or scale to your next few clients. If you're already a high-level customer, you can also get all of those bonuses by upgrading to the next highest plan underneath my link. Instructions for that are also at itskeaton.com/mastermind. Okay, so going back to doing like launching these ads myself. Let's say I'm an agency owner. I'm thinking of my particular situation. Before I sold my agency, 70K a month, and I've got 50 clients or 40 clients, and I want to transition all of them to UpHex, but I'm still going to run them because I don't want to cannibalize my revenue. How much time realistically is UpHex going to save me when it comes to like my media buyer? Like I don't have to worry about it, but my media buyer's going in, swapping it out, changing the campaign, recording what we changed, tracking, the cost per lead before the change, the cost per lead after the change.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some good SOPs in place. She's familiar with Facebook Ads Manager. She knows what to do. How much time is UpHex going to save? And are there any other benefits I'm not thinking of on the DFY side that makes UpHex appealing for people that aren't doing a DIY model?
Yeah, I'll divide it into two parts. So we'll talk about launching, and then we'll talk about optimization and management, right? Because those are two different functions. So in terms of launching, it's going to take you 30 seconds to launch a campaign. Now, I'm slower. So for me, I'm a little bit more meticulous on launching a campaign on behalf of another business. Like I want to make sure that I didn't misspell their name. I didn't put the wrong, like whatever. So it's going to take me, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes maybe to set up a Facebook campaign. Now, if you got Jacob, he would be doing probably 5 minutes, right?
Okay.
But the amount of brain power that he's doing to stay focused and not make a mistake, that's also consideration. In UpHex, you do it in 30 seconds. There's never any mistakes. Like software doesn't misspell words, right?
Yeah.
There's never any mistakes. It launches flawlessly every single time. And so if in a day he had to go through, and now that would say if you were to put a clock on and go start to finish on a single campaign, maybe he could do it in 5 minutes. Maybe, I don't know. We'd have to time him sometime. But then you have to say, well, you got to log in and out of Facebook Ads Manager. You got to make sure you're in the right person's account. All of these things. The actual workload, I mean, you had an agency. Like, do you have any idea, like in terms of your media buyer, how much time she spent launching ads in a week? Do you happen to remember that? I know it's been a little bit.
No, but I would agree. Like once you're good at it, like 20 minutes is a reasonable.
Yeah.
If you have everything ready.
So if she had to do 10 a day, she could do them proficiently and without any like mental stress using UpHex in 3 minutes. You don't have to go in and out of ad accounts. You just go to click on the person, launch, done, next. So it keeps you out of Ads Manager, which is for us one of the biggest things, one of our biggest missions we're trying to do. We know what it's like to do this, right?
Yeah.
And so
Because
What's that?
The company that collected $119 billion in ad revenue last year still can't make the UI worth anybody's time.
That is
Like, it's
so. Oh my gosh.
literally the worst thing to use in the world. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so it's going to save you a ton of time. And then if you want to be able to offer the DIY model, boom, your client's going to do it, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
Now, on the back end side, this is actually really interesting. So let me ask you a question, and I want an honest answer. When you would get a new orthodontist, would you recreate their ads from scratch, meaning come up with brand new offers, come up with brand new ad copy? Would you create from scratch every time, or would you adapt based on your proven templates?
Yeah, it was like 80% templates, 20% adaptation.
Exactly. And that is exact, because by the way, every agency that figures it out, they all do that, right? And we all know it, right? So to that point, the one thing that we didn't know is, what if we could say you had 50 orthodontist locations. You had the same ads. Did you ever aggregate your performance across all of those locations at one time? And you could say, hey, this ad gets an average click-through rate of this. This ad gets an average conversion rate of this. Were you ever able to do that?
Not super effectively. No.
Yeah.
We tried. We attempted many times, but
yes.
Yeah.
And every 7-figure agency does, right? We all do it. UpHex, that's one of our core metrics, right? And so we actually have, we're the only platform that I know of that has what we call macro template metrics. So we aggregate all of the performance on one template. Okay. So if you have 20 locations running the same template, all of that performance is going to go to that template. Now, you can look at that and you can say, hey, our average click-through rate on this is 0.67. Maybe we have a problem. We'll say link click-through rate. Maybe we have a problem with the offer. Let's fix it. You fix that one thing, you push it out, you come back in a week. Hey, our average link click-through rate is 1.25. Awesome. Across the board. So instead of jumping in, media buyers jump in and out of ad accounts, look at data, and make so many micro changes that by the time they're done, they're not sure if they just change the whole formula.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And so we stay macro, and then we do small, and it's mostly, honestly, it is algorithm tweaking optimizations. Okay. So we perfect the creative, and then we mess around with the algorithm. Okay. So an example of that, a lot of times it's not abnormal in local media buying, especially because the audience sizes are smaller. What happens to what happens to ads all the time? They'll go. Yeah. They'll go. And then they go. And a lot of people call that ad fatigue. That is not ad fatigue. That is algorithm fatigue. Okay. That platform, Facebook platform, to your point, it's generating billions of dollars, and it would rather have, Nike's money than your money, because they spend lots of it. And so they optimize for those people, which means even their own documentation says on their landing page, their conversion documentation, 50 conversions per week. You're likely not getting that in your local.
Nobody's getting that in local unless they're in New York spending, $10,000 a week or something.
So now you're at odds with the algorithm. You're at odds with the algorithm. So what happens? The algorithm kind of goes into a uninterested state. Well, what do? You click a button in UpHex. There's a little recycle sign. You click a button and it restarts the campaign. Tactically, what's happening is we are bumping the radius out 1 mile. What does that do? It puts you back into learning. What does learning do? It makes it think that the campaign's brand new. So we reset it. And we have a bunch of optimizations like that you can do in UpHex. Again, we're media buyers. We know what tricks need to be in there to make you more efficient and more profitable. So back in optimization, we have some crazy stuff coming in 2024. I don't want to divulge too much, but we've got some crazy stuff coming.
Yeah, I do want to get to that, but I want to talk offers first. Yeah, you just my concern there as like a technical advertiser that prides himself on being able to dive into the numbers. I was like, oh, it's too simple. Like UpHex is too simple. I'm not going to be able to see what I need to see. But not only can I see it, I can see it aggregated across all my accounts, and I can take the steps that I need to take in a fraction of the time. Like that duplicate campaign button and increase the radius by a mile that's pretty insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Again,
really
we're
good.
media buyers. We know what features need to be in there.
Yeah, and Facebook, yeah, unfortunately does not. They local advertisers are not their priority, so they're
No,
not making a refresh campaign button.
exactly.
They're
Yeah, no,
just
they're
like,
not doing
we're going
that.
to charge you more.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so offers. I just interviewed Jordan and Graydon from
Oh
Forever
yeah.
Booked. They're
Yeah.
crushing it.
Ursel, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good friends. I've been friends with them for like 3 years at this point. I have seen. I've been in the UpHex Facebook group. I've seen a few of the offers that people are doing, sort of just like standard GHL and UpHex, like launch your own stuff. Oh, obviously try to simplify GHL a little bit so it's not all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
What's the most common offer that's crushing it for people right now? What's the coolest one you've ever seen? And what does Patient Stream do?
Okay. The coolest one, I can't tell you. I want to. I want to so bad. We have one guy that he has more customers than UpHex has customers. So he's crushing it. So I can't tell you. I'm under a vow of secrecy. But okay, most of our people, if you go to the UpHex YouTube channel, like the Jordan Ursel, he's on there with me. We've got man, there's a lot of people on there. Matt Coffee, Trevor Briggs. These guys, they all come in and and a lot of those guys, by the way, are like you, meaning they know the agency game. And I think people kind of do fall in when they know that game. They fall into two buckets. Like that's too simple. It wouldn't work for me, and I don't want to offer DIY. Or this is the way things are going. We got to get on right now and strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah.
So, and oddly enough, like the people who was I talking to? There was somebody that we did one of these with a spotlight with, and they're like, man, I looked at it for forever, and I finally just came back to it, and like I had to give in, and he just crushed it, just went in and crushed it. Anyway, so a lot of them do start with DIY ads. Now, the interesting thing, I teach this thing in Lead Gen U and on my Friday class is something I call sub niching. Right? For me, I really focus on three things: the sub niche that you're in, the offer you create, and then the persuasion tactics you use to get more people to buy your stuff. Most of the problems with models and offers stem from not identifying what a niche actually is. Okay. So when people talk about, oh, I help real estate agents, that's not a niche, that's a category. All right. So assuming you can get really narrow on who you're helping, then you take that DIY offer and delivering it to a very unique person so for example, I'm trying to be articulate about this. The Patient Bloom guys, right? They're in the med spa niche. And if you've ever seen any of their ads, I got fed some of their ads, the algorithm thinks I'm a doctor. So I see my own UpHex people's ads. And their thing is in the med spa space, you're getting charged by all these high ticket agencies. It's time to cut out the middleman, save the money, and get even better results with AI and automation. That's the hook. Okay. The proposition is get on a demo call and we'll walk you through and show you how it works. Now, the cool thing about when you demo UpHex, that's where, to your point that you made earlier, I can't imagine that a customer would do this. I agree. But when you show them, you click this, you click this, and then you put in your budget and click this. That's it. That changes everything. In fact,
It's like boosting a post. You made the ads manager as easy as boosting a post, and people love boosting posts. They are obsessed with boosting posts.
That's exactly right. You know what's funny? I did it on my own webinar one time, and I did the launching thing. And somebody came on and said, I think it's just looks that easy because you're doing it. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to find a creative way to prove, because that's now an obstacle for me. Mm-hmm. And I know if that guy's thinking it, there's other people thinking it. So I grabbed my 10-year-old daughter. I sat her in the chair that I'm sitting in now. And I said, Mia, here's the link I want you to put in that place right there. And then that's the button I want you to push. That's the only instructions I gave her. She clicked on an ad, pasted in the URL, and then clicked launch. And in 30 seconds, I showed it to her one time. She launched the ad. And just that one video, that's what I use now on my webinar. Just that one video removed the whole idea like, oh, I need an agency. No, you don't. That 10-year-old just did it.
Yeah.
Right. And so the power of demonstration really, if you're selling the DIY, if you're leading with the DIY offer, is incredibly powerful. I even have other people who have used my daughter's video in their demo calls, which is fine with me. She loves it.
That's what you mean by persuasion tactics.
That's right.
Cool.
That's right.
Yeah, I dig that. That's really cool. Okay, so that's kind of the most common lead out. People are eating it up.
Yeah.
What you can't tell me the most coolest one.
I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have even said it.
Somebody has leveraged this type of offer.
I shouldn't have even said it. You know, there's a lot of really. I will say that, you know, Joey, and his last name is like, I think it's Laurent Roux, is French. He's doing over 300K a month with it. Matt Coffey is crushing it. There's so many people on that are just crushing it with it. And they all seem to follow a similar trajectory. Like they start with one model. And in many cases, if they're newer to, like if they're getting started with UpHex, they start with the DIY model. Joey had a really interesting story where he started out doing traditional SMMA, providing the service. Then he went to pay per lead. So he would, you know, gather their ad spend and their fee in one lump sum. So charge them, you know, sell them off 20 leads for $70 a lead, whatever that was. And he'd make the delta of whatever he got the lead cost at versus what he sold it to them. So he did that for a while. And then when he saw this model, he said, this is so much easier and faster to scale in terms of acquiring customers that I'm going to do that. So he layered on this with back end coaching, like actually getting into their businesses and helping them do more. I think he's in the financial services niche, and they do like additional coaching. And so now he makes his agency fee plus some other stuff that he's doing on the back end and crushing it. Right. So yeah, I think there's different ways to do it. It would all be based off of the needs of a sub niche, right? The more money you make them, the more money they will pay you. I'll give you a little teaser. So you asked what Patient Stream does. We follow that same model. Okay. In 2024, we're going to bring back in a really cool model, which is event marketing. Okay. So event marketing, in contrast to regular lead gen for a clinic, regular lead gen would look like this. They come in, they run their ads, they get leads every day. Our AI, you know, books appointments. They're happy. We're happy. Well, I want them to have opportunities to make more money, to increase their lifetime value. So one way is by retaining them longer. That's good. That's all about community and customer support and just proactive support. That's what that really boils down to. But for me to make more money, I need to give them a new model to where they can make more money. And so my agency, before the pandemic, we made probably 80% of our revenue doing event marketing. And so we would basically drive traffic to a landing page and promote a dinner workshop at some restaurant and get a bunch of attendees. And so they would show up, you'd have 30, 40 people in a room. The doctor would do a presentation, and in a single catalytic moment, instead of seeing the patient drip in, he would get 10, 15 patients. And then we'd say, okay, well, you pay us $1,000 to do that. We'll do all of this and automate it, and you just get this benefit. So we had one doctor that did 6 of them a month. He would just travel around to different locations, just paying us $1,000 every single time. Right. And so if you so if you do it right, I'll tell you one other thing, since you were in the ortho niche. I did it one time for an orthodontist. And the reason why is because, I grew up with not a lot, and I'm at my core a little bit of a cheapskate, self-admittedly. And so when my first kid was getting his braces, I was like, dude, how much are braces? And they're like, my wife was like, well, this is this much. I said, okay, listen, I have this skill. There's no way I can't do some trading to get some braces. So I went to a orthodontist in town. I said, how many new patients would I have to get you for you to give my kid braces for free? He goes, 10. I said, no problem. So I went to Jacob, my partner, excuse me, and I said, I'm not paying for my kids' braces. We need to do a campaign for this orthodontics. And he goes, okay, well, what are we going to do? We'll say, well, it's almost time to go back to school. What if we just did a promotional giveaway? Okay. We'll give away a free pair of braces, a 50% off, and then $1,000 off. Okay. That was the self-liquidating offer. And it was a big drive, a big push. I talked the doctor into it. I said, listen, I know it feels like you're giving up a lot, but here's what we believe you're going to get in return. Okay. He got, I think it was just over 500 people to register for that event. And do you know how many new patients he got from it?
He did an event, or he just did the giveaway?
So it was a combination. So it was a giveaway, but we drove it. It happened over 3 days. So day one, giveaway prize 3, day 2, and you had to be live to be eligible. Guess how many new patients he got?
50.
He got 124.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
I looked at Jacob and I said, well, why aren't we in the orthodontist niche? That was easy. That is a question for another day, but yeah. So,
okay. I want to rewind, because this is super cool. So you drove them to an event, a 3-day event?
Yeah. You were Facebook Live.
Oh, Facebook Live. Okay. And they had to be live on the Facebook to win. And the first day was free. Second day was for 50% off. Third day was 25% off, or switched. And he just got on there and announced it.
Yeah. So he got on, he had one of those little spinny things, cut up their names, drew a name. And then, he drew the prize winner every day. And then the day after it was done, we sent out an email and a text to everyone. We said, congratulations to Connor, our first place winner. By the way, sorry you didn't win. As a consolation prize, here's a voucher for $500 off your free braces, good through February 14th. Boom, done.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That was it.
Okay. So what's next for UpHex?
UpHex. So one of the big things we will always do is build around agencies. And build around agencies who are serving local businesses. That is our ethos. That's where we came from. That is what we are better at anybody than, right? That's what we're really good at. We did a lot of Google ads back in the day, and we are, by the time this video is out, Performance Max, inbound phone calling, all that kind of stuff with Google will be available. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to, Google will actually be easier than Facebook with UpHex, which sounds crazy to say because Google is more technical in the setup, but we've got some really cool stuff coming in 2024 that will make search and everything else just 2 clicks, maybe. It's pretty crazy.
Love it. So we're talking from a setup perspective, all the tags and the, tracking, conversions, all that. Simplified to a few clicks.
Yeah. So tracking, attribution, conversion, all of this stuff is a big, big problem for agencies. And if you're newer to the agency space, you don't know anything about that. I asked Jacob. Now I don't set this up personally because I'm not the nerd in the herd. But I asked Jacob. I said, if you were to start a Google campaign from start to finish, how long would it take you? He goes, 3 to 4 hours. So they're more complicated. And he's talking about building landing pages and all that stuff too. 3 to 4 hours. With UpHex, you'll be able to do it in 30 seconds. So It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I love that UpHex is just it's all this stuff like media buying so repetitive. It's just clicking the
Yes.
same buttons over and over in a different account.
Yes.
And you guys have taught software to click those buttons on our behalf
That's
so that we don't have to.
that's very well said. That's exactly what we did.
Love it.
Wow.
Um, okay, what else haven't we talked about that somebody who's on the fence about UpHex or wants to go down this hybrid SaaS route needs to understand?
I think everybody right now is talking about AI. And I think there's a lot of sizzle behind AI. And I feel like it's a front end strategy for most people, right? So AI is going to be a big part of what we do with UpHex, but we're going to use it in a responsible way. And what I mean by that, you and I had talked about your library of ads that you had in your agency before you sold out, right? Not sold out. That sounds bad. Sold off for good job. Congratulations. You had a library of proven ads, right?
Mhm.
There is a human element, and the better your library is, the better you are, and the more skilled you are in creating those, the more skilled and the more value AI will be able to contribute to an agency like that. The opposition or what we hear a lot of is effectively you don't have to know anything, you just use AI and it will do magic. It's a magic wand. Magic wands don't really exist in entrepreneurship. From my experience, I fall into the same category. I love how Alex Hormozy calls it golden BBs. Okay.
Mhm.
AI might be a golden bullet uh, based on what it can do. And we're just going to use it the right way, right? We're going to use it to make it so we can optimize 1,000 ad campaigns in 20 minutes, right?
Mm.
We're going to use it so we can multiply or so we can duplicate, adapt, and compound proven marketing campaigns that much more into other proven marketing campaigns, or a proven Facebook ad campaign into a proven Google ad campaign with a single button, right? Which we already have that, right? So you'll be able to take your winning ads that you're doing in Facebook, have them in UpHex, click a button, and now you got that same campaign, but it's over in Google, right? So everything we do is through the lens of we've been doing this for a long time. We listen to our agency customers. Those are our customers, right? And we are just being as strategic as possible and building something that will just make it so when they grow their agencies, man, they'll be profitable as they grow, right? We're not punishing them or adding more workload as they grow. We're streamlining everything, and that's gonna get even more streamlined with all the cool stuff that God will provide us. So we're excited about it.
Dang, yeah, that's really cool. It reminds me of have you read Principles by Ray Dalio?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. They talk about how what's his investment firm again?
If you
It's
say
not
it, I'll
Blackstone.
remember. Yeah, no, it's not
It's not
Blackstone.
BlackRock.
I
It's
forget it.
Bridgewater.
Yeah, Bridgewater. There you go.
Yeah, they would use AI. They would feed tons and tons of data into the learning model that would then say, hey, these are the best decisions you can make. And then the human would say, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this.
That's what you use it for.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Okay, so last question for you. I'm planning on running a challenge come January where people get there will be a big cash prize for the most improved agency. I'm still trying to figure out how to track that and make sure there's no cheating and what the rules and parameters are. But I'm planning on participating in the challenge as well. So January 1st, we're launching this. Hey, everybody, like by end of March, we want to have an agency that's doing X amount. If you were me, I still have to run my coaching business, still trying to keep the YouTube channel up. But obviously, this is creating some content for the YouTube channel. I want to create something that's leveraged. Ideally, I have to have either as little work as possible with each client or a little bit more work, but way less clients. And something that could get me to, 10, 20K a month within 3 months.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Are you able to go back into the orthodontics niche?
Sure. I'm not actually, but I'm
Okay,
not until August. But
well, let's if I were to participate in this event, I don't know if I have the content available or the availability to do it. But if I did, I would do the offer that I did before, right?
okay,
My agency would do quarterly promotions, quarterly giveaways like that. We would make
okay,
a big to do about whatever the offer. We'd make that offer really compelling, so a lot of people, or a lot of our target audience, would opt in. And then for month 2 and 3 in the quarter, we would just do follow up, reactivation, and nurturing campaigns to trickle people in. And I would just jam the list full of people, and then go harvest, jam the list, and then go harvest, jam the list, go harvest. And I would do
okay.
that over and over again. A single campaign doing that, man, I might even do some type of tiered price point to where if we get this many people into the funnel, we get 3,000, we get 2,000, whatever. Like performance-based marketing. Performance-based marketing for that model would be a no-brainer for
Yeah.
for a clinic like that. I would say that because you know the niche already. So much of success is understanding the inner workings and the nuance that exists within a niche. And since you know that already, I go back into there, but I would do event marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would just do follow up campaigns between at the end of the quarter.
Dig it. I love that. Okay, you reminded me of one more question before we close out. You mentioned one of your users that was doing pay per show or pay per lead.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone doing that effectively? What do you see the challenges of that being? It looks like Highlevel is starting to come out with some like resell leads features. Um, I'll tell you my take, and then I want to hear yours. It's very complicated for local business, um, and I'd much rather just get them on a lower retainer or even a higher retainer, and never have to get them to report to me. I like the on the event side. It's a bit more like this is a 3 month campaign. At the end of the 3 months, we're going to tally everything and like we're going to make sure that we get paid.
Yeah.
There's ways around getting paid at the very end, which isn't ideal. But I like simplicity much more than I like very irresistible offer.
Yeah.
Like irresistible offer is a crazy headache back end in many ways, depending on what you
Yeah.
do. That those are my thoughts. I know there's people that have done it super effectively. What do you think?
I think I'm tending to agree with where I believe you're going. And here's my background. In
Mm-hmm.
2018, I had a clinic that we collected their service fee and their ad spend. We're thinking, dude, if we can get all of these points on an ad account by using our American Express credit card, wouldn't that be so great? It's great until they charge you back for $20,000.
Whoa.
That one choice almost sunk our agency. And so I never use my own ad account. Number one, my ad account is tied to my business manager. I can't have my business manager getting shut down. Okay. That is why in UpHex, when you sign on a new customer, when they're signing on, they click a button and it signs them into their own ad account. Okay. Now, I like things clean. I also don't think it's ethical to charge a service fee and then and ad spend and not have an accounting of what is going where.
Hmm.
I'm collecting $3,000. Half goes to your ad spend and half goes to service fees on my honor. It's like it's just a recipe for disaster.
Hmm.
If you listen to candidly, I've never done the paper lead model. I've never done that.
Yeah.
I was scared of it because of that experience. And if you go and listen to that Joey Laurent Roux, his thing, he did that for a long time, and he got out of it. And I don't remember his exact. It was something similar. You run a big risk where merchant accounts and where chargebacks and where jerky clients. By the way, The guy who charged back $20,000 was doing it because he was getting audited by whoever audits for reimbursements.
Oh, okay.
Whoever was doing that, he was charging for things and getting reimbursed for things that he wasn't doing. So he was committing fraud. And so he had to go and get all this money. We were an easy target. We won, but we didn't even get the money back.
Whoa.
So we had every piece of documentation, right? At any rate, so I feel like people who are experienced and that have run agencies for any amount of time want it clean, want it simple, want it easy, and especially for local businesses, I would not do that model. I haven't done it before. So some of my, it's not a completely informed opinion, but based on what I know, I would not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I talked to somebody recently who they would do it for online businesses. So their initial agreement was like 6 weeks. They went in and they just do like very simple. Most people weren't leveraging their list enough. So they take their list, they'd send out a campaign, they'd make them X amount of dollars. But before they ever did that, they would get the credit card on file. They would have access to the sales records. And the minute that they made $2,000, they billed them the 2K. And that was their fee for that first month or whatever. So like, oh, that's pretty clever. Getting access to the sales records on a local business. And I could see that being more challenging than, hey, here's my Stripe account on a coaching business or something like that. And then the other example that I had is a client who I worked with, they left, they came back eventually, and they're like, I'm working with an agency right now. It's paper show. I have to spend $100 a day on ads. And every time I get someone that shows up, whether or not they close, it's $200 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I read $100 million offers, and this is the exact thing that Hormozy says to do: $5K upfront fee, and then you just charge for the shows. And she's like,
Yep.
but sometimes they don't close. And then I'm like, I just paid $200 for something that didn't close. And when you tie yourself so closely to that, like, I don't know, you've got to have a really sales savvy client. And essentially it's a business partnership at that point. And so you should be signing papers that are like, hey, this is exactly what's going to happen. It should be with somebody that you trust. If anybody knows of a way to prove us wrong here, I would love to hear it. But
yeah, I was just going to say, and I'll build off of what you're saying. And I would not say that Alex Hormozy wasn't legit. Dude is totally legit. But in my own niche, I have had a lot of clients that did that model and got burned, right? Anywhere from, hey, I'm required to spend $100 a day in ads. Okay, makes sense. Well, there's no incentive in the agency to bring the ad cost to the right place to like watch the performance. Just like, no, just spend more, right? So that's one problem with it. The next problem with it is, they pay per show, but if you can get anybody to show, you get paid. And for every clinic that called me who had done that model, they're like, oh, we just lost money. We just lost money. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody lost money, because I'm sure that's always the situation. I'm sure there were people who crushed it with that. It's too risky for me, and a tactic known in sales is a tactic blown. There's a reason that in my niche, at least, and by the way, there's a lot of people using UpHex. I don't see anybody doing that anymore. And that's not because I've told anybody not to do it, because this is the first time I've actually talked about that particular offer structure. I just think that enough people got burned by it that it wasn't an actual good model for the business who wasn't well versed in sales to begin with.
Yeah. And even if I feel like you pitch it that way, sure, it's easier for you to get them to say yes, but it's so obvious that it's not working that it's like they're even more upset than like a normal retainer. Oh, I just don't feel like I'm getting an ROI conversation. Like, you're going to end that a lot more amicably than like every lead that comes in is not closing and I have to pay $200 to talk to some stranger that like is never going to come back in here.
Yeah. Plus I still have the $100 a day that I'm required to put out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Sam, you've been a wealth of knowledge. You can tell that You guys are on the cutting edge of what's happening. Really appreciate you being here. There will be links below to sign up for UpHex, and you can always reach out to Sam directly on Facebook, or join the Facebook group to ask questions about models. UpHex also has daily trainings where you can go in and ask questions, get coaching on how to grow your agency with UpHex and Highlevel. Anything else you'd add to that, Sam?
No, thanks for giving us the time, man. I enjoyed meeting you in person at Level
Yeah,
Up, but now catching up and doing a bit more of a deep dive. So I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for doing
love it,
this.
man. Thank you so much.